Hi, this is a review of the Festool methods of clamping. I'm going to be covering 4 clamps today. The FS-HZ160, which is known as the Quick Clamp. The Festool FSZ120, which is a clamp with 4 and 11/16 of jaw space. The FSZ300, which opens to about 11.5 inches. And my favorite, the Festool Clamping Elements. Arguably the most useful when joined with the Festool MFT. The smaller ones can be used like any style of F-clamp. You can use them to do a glue-up, simplify, bringing them closed, and screwing it shut. You could use the big ones, but it doesn't really make much sense. But this is sort of their lowest common denominator use. Where they really excel is when joined with the Festool guide rail system and also with the Festool MFT. When used with the guide rail, you just bring up your workpiece, whatever you'd like to cut. And even though the Festool guide rail has some friction strips on the bottom, it really is a lot more secure if you use a clamp in conjunction with that. You slide the clamp into the channel. It's located on the bottom of the guide rail. Bring it up, clamp it down, and then basically what you have is a very, very secure surface on which you can use any of the Festool tools in the system. I could use the TS saw here to make a rip cut or cross cut. If so inclined, I could also use the jigsaw with the guide plate, and that would give me a straight line cut. So it's pretty handy to use these clamps with the guide rails. It's much more secure. Again, it's not a necessity, but it brings it to a level of 100% security in keeping that guide rail in position. The guide rail can be used with a multitude of tools, with or without the clamps, but that's not the focus of today. Using the clamps with the MFT, you can put them through the hole. Usually this requires on the smaller guys that you unscrew it all of the way. If you have it closed at all and the jaw lid is not all the way open, you can't get it through the holes. You put it in there, and basically you can put whatever you like in position here to clamp in the hole. Here I've got some blocks that maybe I want to drill, or sand, or route, or whatever. You can see I can practically pick this table up with the clamping force that's put down there. The screw clamps are handy just in sort of general fashion. If you need one-handed use, that's where the clip clamp comes in. It also goes into the MFT holes, just like so. But once you've got it more or less in position, you can really crank down on it. It's not going anywhere. And the best part is one-handed release. You can reposition, put another one in there, and then clamp it again. This is a pretty neat clamp in the way that it works. It's got a ratcheting system, so that when you bring the jaws up close, it'll click into position like a ratchet or cog, and then the green plastic trigger is what releases the force there. So you just bring that close in, sort of approximate, and when you sit down on it, that is going to be very securely held, and again, you pull the trigger to release it and it comes right off. These are really nice and handy. The long guys are most useful if you're going to be clamping a stack up of things. So let's say I've got some random assembly I need to do and I want to drill holes through the entire thing, or I need to put something together. These give you just a lot of length to put a stack of things together and clamp it down securely. With the MFT, really you can clamp it in multiple places, in different ways, like so. And these give it a reach that the shorter clamps and the quick clamp maybe can't quite accomplish, although in this case this stack can. So these are nice just to have a few of for your larger assemblies, or something that's particularly thick that you want to clamp down. My favorite here are the clamping elements. These are amazing in use with the MFT. The MFT is pretty much required, or you make your own, maybe a walk-out workbench, whatever has a 20mm hole. But these clamping elements have a projection which goes into the hole, and they have a counterpart which serves as sort of the dog that doesn't move. Okay, these also come with a screw-in little handle that keeps it secure from underneath the table, like so. Pretty easy to put on, take off, but not really required in any use. All they do is keep it close to the table. And as you'll see, the force itself between these two is substantial enough that you don't really need something like that to actually use them. These come sold in a pair of 2 sets so that you can set up an alignment like so that you can clamp something along its length, like so. And basically what you do is turn this sideways. The head has a pretty long travel, so you just put something out here, you push it up close, and then this handle swings that provides a cam action, pushing the head just a little bit, maybe 1/8 of an inch or more, into the dog, and it holds it very, very securely. What I really like these for is assembly. So for example, I built some Adirondack chairs. Here's the template I use to make an Adirondack leg. When I want to assemble a finished chair, I actually can just take this, push it in, lock it, and look at that. It holds it up all by itself. Imagine this without a 3/4 inch cedar. It's a piece of cake to hold. And then here's the leg that I would put on the front. Put another clamping element here in the proper position. And on this one, do the same thing. Bang. Now I just drill my holes and everything's already properly aligned. You can do this in several places, and for assembly these are really handy, which is why I recommend having 2 pair so you can actually assemble multiple things in multiple parts at once. They're worth every cent, even though they're quite pricey. Other clamping options here, if you want to do a glue up on your MFT, you can set your clamping elements apart and use them to basically provide the force at the lower end. If you had a longer thing, you'd do the top, and then a clamp across the top, providing the force. Boom, go ahead and leave, let your glue up dry. I don't recommend that because you might get glue on your tabletop, but I know others do. Other handy things for clamping elements is support for other tools you're going to use in the system. So for example, I clamp down this board here, get my domino out, boom, do my thing, mortise, mortise, flip it around, and do the same thing over here. Let's say I want to cross-cut something or do a little bit of template work, making a curved cut. I can actually put the clamping elements closer to the edge. This is plenty of support. Oops, that moved a bit, wow. But you can cross-cut here off the side of the table. Don't cut your table. And, best of all, sanding. This holds it very securely for any kind of sanding, whether you ram an orbital or with a Rotex. You can sand off the table, on the table, however much space that you need. The clamping elements are not limited to small pieces, however. So I'll grab my big sheet here from earlier. Just bring that over to an approximate position. If this were perhaps, say, a small tabletop or something that I was working on, just simply put these guys in here, make sure they're lined up, cam them down. Now I have a whole big huge space that I can sand, work on, route, whatever needs to happen, and it's not going anywhere. So that covers all of the Festool clamping methods except for one, which is the rapid clamp, which attaches to the guide rail. I don't have one. But I hope that was at least somewhat informative about Festool's offerings. Again, the clamping elements, highly, highly recommended. They're fantastic. The quick clamp, good in conjunction with the MFT, and using with the guide rail. The smaller FSZ120s, they come with many accessory kits, for example, the guide rail accessory kit and others. These are really handy. And then the long guys, the FSZ300s, which are handy for your big items and clamping down large work pieces. Festool's got a wide range of clamping items here. All of them work great with the MFT and the entire Festool system. Couldn't recommend them enough. Hope you enjoyed this review.